Surrounded by castle walls, this commune is frozen in time. There are many historical villages in the south of France, but only one is home to the largest medieval Gothic palace in the world, Palais des Papes. This 13th century wonder overlooks the equally fairy tale worthy city of Avignon. One foot in the world of knights and popes, the other in our modern day, Avignon is the closest you can get to time travel. Hey, what's up? For those who are new, let me introduce myself. My name is Zoe-Daphnee, and when I'm not a busy cello student in New York City, I love to explore the world one song at a time. With my best friend, Cello Z right here. Avignon is one of the coolest places I've ever been. I can't wait to take you along my day there. Avignon's deep connection to history is largely due to Palais des Papes. This immense cathedral building was the largest Gothic building in the Middle Ages. Through the 15th and 16th century, it was home to the Pope who, in those days, was perhaps even more powerful than the king. At the same time that Palais des Papes ruled as the center of Western Christianity, a German composer by the name of Bach was composing cantatas for the church every week. His 6 cello suites are in every cellist's repertoire, and I've always dreamed of playing one of his suites by something that was around when he was alive. Bach was entirely devoted to the church, and his music is considered one of the best in history. Though Bach never left Germany and certainly never saw Palais des Papes, I just knew I had to play his music here because of his deep devotion to the church. And so we began our Avignon adventure by waking up at 6 in the morning. Listen, I'm not a morning person at all, so this was rough, but it was totally worth it. Normally, this entire area is crowded with people waiting hours to get into the palace. But this peaceful morning, it was just the palace, the pigeons, and me playing Bach. Here's a snippet of that surreal morning. Hearts full of wonder, we headed back to our beautiful hotel for a much-deserved nap. Now, this hotel needs a moment of its own. Cloitre St is a perfect balance, a peaceful haven away from the bustling city, but still a part of the action, only a 5 to 10 minute walk to Palais des Papes. The hotel building is a historical monument from the 16th century and is furnished in a nostalgic yet modern way. Of course, the courtyard is the star of the show, centered around a stunning mossy fountain. I was so inspired by the beauty, I had to pull out my cello here too. This is an excerpt of Haydn Cello Concerto No. 1. Enjoy! After our terrific nap, we headed back towards Palais des Papes in search for food. We had a little bit of trouble finding a place that would take all 3 of us in, but eventually La Grande Brasserie de Sintra took us in. We had a caprese salad as an appetizer, which tasted extra divine because we'd only had bread for days. But then it was right back to the carbs. We really enjoyed this restaurant. There was fast service and the staff was friendly. Now back to Palais des Papes, but this time it was a completely different atmosphere. The front of the palace, which was serene and gentle in the morning, was now packed with tourists wrapping around waiting to get into the building. We got lucky though and only ended up waiting about 30 minutes to get inside. As we passed the security officers, I suddenly remembered the cello on my back. If this was America, there would be no way I could get this into a museum, much less a UNESCO World Heritage Site like this one. I thought back to the time I visited the National Gallery of Art in DC. The security officers barked at me on several occasions because I kept forgetting how to properly wear my backpack. But all the French officers asked was for me to open the case and for them to look inside. That's it. I was stunned. Isn't this like a huge security risk? This palace is the largest structure from the Middle Ages. Shouldn't there be tighter restrictions on what we're allowed to bring inside? But I'm not complaining. I got to bring my cello into a 15th century Pope's palace. How cool is that? Once inside, we bought our tickets. The woman gave us a receipt to sign and offered us a complimentary iPad. She explained that when you point the camera around the room, on the screen, you'll see what it might have looked like in the day. We politely declined. I wanted to see this palace through my own eyes. Though only a small portion of the palace is open to tourists, we had plenty to explore. To my surprise, most of the rooms were empty. I'm sure the original furniture is either too fragile or doesn't exist anymore, but it would have been nice to see replicas of what it could have looked like. It seems the only way to do that was looking through the iPads. It's a really cool concept and well executed, but as I looked around and saw people staring down at iPads, I wondered why come all the way to Avignon just to look through an iPad? The extent to which most people were staring at the screens, I'm sure they would have had the same experience sitting on the couch back at home. However, the few artifacts that were there were really cool to see, and the rooms were impressively large. The huge, cold emptiness really captured the foreboding and cynical church of the Middle Ages. Hungry for more medieval architecture, we raced to see the impressive walls surrounding Avignon. And from outside looking in, I could see what Avignon truly is. It's stuck in time. Outside, cars and trains race by in the modern world, but inside, Avignon is frozen, like a photograph. After only a few minutes outside, I longed for the fairy tale inside the walls again. So we walked back through the looking glass to our oasis. The courtyard is stunning, I know, it's my favorite, but the real hidden gem is the pool. Perched on the roof of the hotel, it overlooks a gorgeous view of the city, even a chapel dome. It's the perfect place for sunset. As I drifted off to sleep that night, I realized I hadn't felt like this in a very, very long time. I felt relieved. The modern world moves so quickly. There's always something new, something different. I find so much comfort in places that don't change very much. Palais des Papes still watches over the city as it did 600 years ago, and the trees in the courtyard of Cloitre St still grow. We have changed in so many ways since the Middle Ages, but at the same time, not so much. After all, we still marvel at big buildings and pretty fountains. Thank you so much for coming along on my Avignon adventure. Please subscribe if you haven't already so you can join the family, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.